47. Page 40. I don't remember the page for sure. It's 46 or 47. I can say that, I guess. Right?
I mean,
One of
that's
the pages, 46 or 47.
so. How did you get into Carbondale After Dark? Like, what led? Is it H.B. Kopelowitz? I can't pronounce his last name correctly, I'm sure, but that wrote
I'm
the
not
book.
really sure. They just had were going around Carbondale filming different things, and they came into the bar and asked me to be, if I would be, photographed. So I said sure. So me and a friend of mine were standing over by the ladies' room toward the left side of the bar, and he snapped a picture, and then next thing I know, it's in the book.
Was there anything more than just the picture, or
No,
like?
it just says the picture, and it just says a proud drag queen and her escort. So no, no names or no nothing. And I mean, majority of the people this day and time wouldn't recognize me because I was so little. I mean, that's been probably 40 years ago. So
You've been dragging for a while, Blanche.
yeah. So I've been doing it for 44 years. So yeah.
And that is the intro for episode number 6 of the WTF Carbondale podcast. With me in studio now is the person that many of us know simply as Mother, Blanche DuBois. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you. Welcome.
I said before the show, if we wanted to give them your government name as well or not.
Oh, okay. It's okay. My government name is Stephen Hale, and my AKA, as we said, was Blanche DuBois. Been that name for many, many years, over 44 years.
Do you remember how you first picked up the name Blanche DuBois?
I do. I had just came out, and I had fell madly for a gentleman, and we lasted about 2 months, and I was head over heels for him. Well, then he decided he was going to break it off, and I was devastated. So I went to the local gay bar, and that's where I met this drag queen, which turned out to be my drag mother.
Mm-hmm.
She taught me the ropes and things. Her name was LaDonna, and she could see that I was, just devastated and depressed, and she asked me what had happened, and I told her. And she said, I'm going to get you out of that depression. Just wait till next weekend. So next weekend, she brings me this humongous hairdo, and they called them beehives back then, and a yellow feather dress, canary. Yeah, it was bright yellow with feathers. And I said, what's that? And she said, well, just sit down in the chair. So she got me all ready, and we went to the bar, and I had a great time. Didn't think a thing about my past guy or anything, and so we had a good time. So the next day she said, we got to get you a name. Well, we had gone to the mall shopping, and my mom had noticed the change in my why I was depressed, and also she gave me her charge card. And her name happens to be Blanche.
Uh-huh.
So when I go to sign the items I'd bought, I had to sign her name, Blanche. And so that stuck. So LaDonna started calling me Blanche. And she said, well, we got to get a last name for you. And I don't think your government name would be very showy.
Blanche?
So she came up with the DuBois, and that was from Streetcar Named Desire.
Uh-huh.
So, because there was a character in that named Blanche DuBois, and she was the town floozy. So I guess that's how I came up with that name, and it stuck to me now. It's been there for 44 years.
How many times have you told that story?
Many. Many, many, many. I would say several, but that's not the right word. It would be many, many. So, because everybody just assumes that that's where that name's from, the whole name, which part of it is, and the other parts was my mom.
Yeah.
So
That is a lovely.
yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, it was we had a great time shopping, bought lots of goodies.
So you were out when being out was not an easy thing.
No, not at all. I can remember going into the bar not so much the underground, because it was under the, that's where for the first bar I went to, did the drag.
Mm-hmm.
That was under, which is ABC Liquor Store.
Okay.
So it wasn't so bad there. And then that bar closed, and then it, across from Wendy's, the New Yorker opened up.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't so bad because there was a back parking lot. But then when that bar closed, the established bar that's been known for everybody to know, Main Street East opened up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's right there on the, the right down across from the bank of Carbondale, which traffic is knee deep through there. So I can remember when people were hiding in the bushes and waiting on traffic to stop
Uh-huh.
at the light so they could run, dart across, and get in the door. That way nobody seen them. Because it was kind of very taboo back then.
Yeah.
It's, if you were seen in a gay bar, you were, it was pretty taboo. So a lot of people didn't want to be seen, so they would hide and dodge every angle they could till they could get in the bar.
You know, that's a pretty different perspective from now, where modern culture is very much about being seen and being visible versus having to feel like
Exactly.
you have to hide
Yes,
who you
exactly. And now it's so flamboyant that, the more flamboyant you are, the more noticed you are. And I mean, people like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you're
it's-
people too, right? You like it as well.
Well, most definitely. But I honestly could say I've been very flamboyant ever since I started. I mean,
Yeah.
it was all about the big hair and the feathers and the sequin and the beads and the rhinestones. Now so much it's not so. A lot of the stage presents now are not as elaborate as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the entertainers have took the easy way out and wore more sensible clothes instead of costumes. So, but not me.
Yeah.
You never know what I'm going to come out in.
All you know
Anywhere
is it's
from-
going to be bright.
Anywhere from a milkshake costume to Ursula or Cruella. You never know what I'm going to wear.
And you do a lot of your own. You make.
Yes,
So
I make,
much of what
I
you-
make some of them. Then I have a couple of friends of mine. Best friend Jody makes a lot of my costumes, and then I had a friend named Chris that made a lot. And I just sat around, and generally what I do is if I hear a song that I'd like,
Mm-hmm.
then my mind starts twirling, thinking, what could I wear costume-wise for that song? So, and then I go to these people and I say, do you think you can make this? And they can either make it or they either can't. So I used to do the song Car Wash, and I have a car. Matter of fact, I was telling a friend about this yesterday, and they were just enamored by it. It's made out of black patent, and it's got foam silver lame bumpers on it
Mm-hmm.
that go around it, and it's got headlights that light up, and it's got the license plate on the back, and I did car wash in it. And of course, when I start out doing the song, we don't have any of the lights on, and then all of a sudden I hit one light, two light, and then I've got these beaming lights. So yeah, that's what I said. You never know what you're going to see me in.
Have you ever done a sports themed drag? Do you ever do sports themed drag? I mean, you're a huge sports fan.
I have. I have. A matter of fact, I still have it. I made a SIU Saluki cheerleading outfit, and I did had pom poms, and I did a song called "Let's Hear It for the Boys."
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So, and I think I did that probably Super Bowl weekend one time.
Mhm.
I think it was because it was big football theme and all. So I had that made. So I actually still have it.
That's great. And I mean, I won't hold it against you that you were from Murfreesboro originally, football player and
Right,
all that.
right.
You know, different generations of a Carbondale Murfreesboro rivalry.
I love my Red Devils. Still do. I wish this virus would end so we could get back to the normalness of it and I could get my sports. I look so forward to August and right after that and then going into basketball season. But things have been very much delayed.
Were you a multi-sport athlete as a kid, or were
No.
you just football?
No, I like to play baseball and basketball, but I used to play football.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, So were you born? Are you a born and raised Murfreesboro kid
Yes.
then, or were you, okay?
Yes, I was born and raised there. Lived there up until back in the late 70s. I had applied for a job with the FBI
Mm-hmm.
as a file clerk, and I got hired. I was
Really?
one of the 700 people out of the United States, and to hire, they were going around, through the United States hiring, I think over 700, and I was one of them. And needless to say, I didn't last there very long in D.C. because I didn't care for it.
Uh-huh.
So I came back home, and I've been here ever since.
How long did you work for the FBI for, Blanche?
About a week. I actually flew home on my birthday. I thought, what a better present. So, yeah, I had got rid of all my drag and all my costumes and everything. I thought, well, I'm going to be this big agent, eventually, and I'm not going to need all that. So I got rid of all of it, and then when I came back, I had to start revamping and getting things back. So, but I've had many, many costumes. I actually still have a basement full of them. So.
I would have loved to have seen Secret Agent Blanche DuBois.
Oh yeah, that was the big joke. Yeah, yeah. They asked me if I was going undercover, and I'm like, no. So
there was like some bullshit on that, not some like positive
Yeah,
reinforcement.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a joke about that. But yeah, that was quite an interesting thing, and I guess it was an honor to be chosen because here we don't know how back then how well they thought about somebody being gay, but here I'm this big drag queen, and they're going all around, past employers and my neighborhood. The FBI agents were out there, and they were interviewing people. Well, what kind of a person is Steve, and all this, and here I'm this big drag queen, and they're still,
Yeah.
and I still get hired, so I guess they were kind of liberal back then also. So.
Well, I think that there may be something to speak to your character just as an individual outside of any particular context there may be, too.
Yeah, of course, they may have thought they were going to get me, too, and if they needed a undercover one time, they could have me, maybe.
Yeah. with the big the big crime ring in the in the gay bar underground.
Yeah.
we'll have Blanche be our infiltrating agent.
But when I went to here, I'm young and went to D.C. and it was quite a shock to someone young seeing all these things. There were people laying in the streets under the to get warm. I guess what I'm trying to say, the vent or the
like the air vents or stuff that would have hot air blowing out of them.
Yeah, and that was kind of a wake up call. And the more I stayed there, I thought, this is not for me. And I'm not a big city boy.
Yeah.
So.
Is that is that something that you think is really, I don't know, makes you kind of this legend in your own right, that like a lot of folks, especially with your prominence and ability in the performance world and the drag world, would just have taken yourself to a Chicago or to a Nashville or a New York or LA, that just was never really an appeal to you because you like your small town living.
Right. I just never did. I was always told, why am I wasting my time around here? Because I could go to a city anywhere and be put on a cast.
Yeah.
As an entertainer. And I don't know, I just chose, I think a lot of it was due to family, being around. I was a family person. And, of course, when you move away, you're giving up your family until you come home for a holiday or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was just kind of why I never did, because I know my entertainment value could have been put somewhere on a cast somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But, speaking of traveling, I have traveled a lot over the United States, competing in contests and doing shows at other, major cities.
Mm-hmm.
But I just chose to stay in Southern Illinois, home of the Salukis.
Fabulous Southern Illinois.
Right.
Where it's what are some of the more memorable places that you've traveled and performed in? What kind of sticks out over the
Well,
many
I had
decades?
I've been in Dallas, and I've been in Nashville and St. Louis and Memphis, and But one of them that really sticks out, I did a show out in San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really, really, my sister worked at a bar out there, and she got me the booking because I was going out there to see her. And I was looking forward to all these, city girls, doing all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
Well, it turned out they all were, their costumes consisted of mini skirts and tube tops. So, boy, did they get a surprise. And needless to say, they didn't care for me at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one that raked in all the money. Because, I mean, I took every feather, every sequin dress you could name in the two suitcases that I was able to carry on, the plane. And I mean, the costumes were just like, wow, because these people at this bar had never seen anything like that. They're used to someone coming out in a mini skirt and a tube top. So, I mean, I'd have to say that was a pretty memorable place, San Francisco.
Yeah.
Because, it's a big icon of the United States anyway. But I don't know if it was just the type of the bar I was in or what, but their wardrobes and their costumes were not much. So at the end of the night, everyone that stood there and made their money wasn't very much, but I had a handful of cabbage. And I mean, a lot of entertainers are envy of other entertainers when they make their money, and you have a lot of them sit there and watch to see how much they're making. So I guess they'd saw that I'd made a considerable amount and had a good time that night. So haven't been back since, but that was probably one of the memorable places.
That's great. Well, that goes to show there's a little bit of a difference between just putting on clothes and dressing up in drag.
Exactly, very much. And a lot of people, when they go to a show, they're expecting to see all that, and then they don't see it, and then they're disappointed. So I think that's what helps my act, is that I kind of make the show kind of just outrageous.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh my God, what's she going to come out in next? Just like the night I came out in the mermaid costume and had the live goldfish floating in my bra. I mean, I had one gentleman, he could not figure it out. He said, honey, I either thought I'd had too much to drink, or I could have swore there were live fish floating in your bra there. And I said, well, guess what? They are alive. And I took them out. They were in bags, and I gave them to him. And, I mean, his eyes were, he said, well, I guess I'm not drunk. So, I mean, you just never know. And that's the part of being that I like about myself is being very different.
Well, it's proper entertainment, right? There's one aspect of it that is simply expression, right? And that is, to say that, no matter if you're in front of one person or 1,000, that you want people to know you through your art. But then there's the other side of it that is like, treats it like the business that it is.
Right. One thing about it, when they leave the show, that at the end of the night, they remember my name. And that's what you want someone to do.
Yeah. What I mean, with things, and obviously everybody kind of really latches on to RuPaul's Drag Race, because that's the thing that has kind of embodied drag, as it has become this global phenomenon, and not just kind of a piece of entertainment that people just kind of go see on a whim or whatever it may be. What do you feel like participating in it from a exaggerated point from the get-go? Do you feel like you may have had just on drag culture throughout the country? I mean, I know that sounds crazy, like, little old Blanche DuBois and little old Southern Illinois, but I mean, you've been doing this, and you've been a top-tier performer for decades before we really knew what a top-tier performer was in the drag world.
Right. I mean, I think, we'll need to put it out there, drag queens have been around long before RuPaul ever came around.
Yeah.
And I think her show has helped society understanding it more and maybe accepting it more.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't agree. I mean, with it because I mean it's dramatically hurt our clientele at shows
Mm-hmm.
because now you can sit at home in a recliner, eat your popcorn, and watch a drag show on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they're seeing the type of people that's all stage first of all,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean someone on there that is so attitudey and all. I mean, it's not always true because I know a lot of them girls on there, and their
Mm-hmm.
personalities are not like that. They're having to. It's a script,
Yeah.
and I think that's really made a lot of people accept it more, but they're not really knowing the true side of that person,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
No, that absolutely makes sense. I mean, they're
They're painting them out to be a villain, and
Mhm.
they're really not.
yeah.
And I think that's really, I mean, I know that's hurt the attendance at a show
Mm-hmm.
because people they'll just stay home watch it.
Huh.
But
I hadn't thought about it from that perspective, but especially something that is very much like a live entertainment piece
Right.
that like it is a different world between a organized stage show in person versus what the cameras can do and what editing can do and what all of the the Hollywood tricks and whatnot
right,
do to kind of gloss over what is like the earnestness
Yeah.
of a performer's life, running through 3 and 4 nights a week doing acts and opening up for anything from again 15 people in a small town bar to hundreds or thousands of people in a bigger staged area.
exactly, right. And I mean, a lot of them girls on there, some of them have been getting death threats and all kinds of things because the way they've portrayed themselves on TV, and because that fan thinks they're really that they're that way,
Uh-huh.
um, and they're not. I mean, I just think it's portrayed drag queens a lot different than what they are.
So we need a reality TV show that's real drag queens of Southern Illinois, not just
That'd be fun. Yeah.
something to give insight beyond just the RuPaul makeup of it. And I don't watch RuPaul, so I don't have any context
Right.
other than kind of what
Right.
you share with me here and kind of what I hear you and other performers talk about whenever you may try and book somebody through or whatever it may
Yeah.
be. It's about the most that I've got with it, but I can understand how that plays similarly to anybody that you would see on other TV shows, a Big Brother or a Survivor or Real World or whatever it may be. I don't know my reality TV shows that well, but yeah, no, thinking about it now that
Yeah.
it kind of starts to click.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, and there's different types on there too. It's just not your everyday drag queen. They have the gothic style drag queens, and I mean they have just different looks about them. That are some of them are very outrageous, and it's not a. I guess what I'm trying to say, it's not a glamour show.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You think that's like a core component that drag should have to it? It shouldn't just be about costuming, but it should be about the glamour component?
That's what I like about drag, yeah. It's the
Okay.
glamour, yeah. Now the big thing is bearded drag queens. And, I mean, each his own. It's not my cup of tea, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you like about kind of what the scene has evolved into? What some of the younger folks that are doing this now, people that the people that have been mentored by people that you have mentored, right? Because I mean, we're in multiple generations of this now, not
Right.
just the people that you've had a direct influence on, but the people that have been influenced by the people that you have had influence on.
Right.
Um,
You mean, what do you mean by that?
Oh, just like what do you kind of embrace about what things have turned into, over the years, kind of how the scene in the area has evolved, kind of almost in a 3-state region, right, where it's kind of Southern Illinois, Western Kentucky,
Right.
Southeast Missouri.
Yeah. I think it's, each generation has helped the other generation because, I mean, you learn a lot from a seasoned entertainer.
Yeah.
And I mean, they start out looking busted, as we say. And maybe 3 months down the road, they're looking great,
Yeah.
because they've listened to that generation, to that mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, they've got babies under them, and they're teaching them how to do it. And then they start out busted, and then they become, and they call them skillets too, where they're kind of rough.
Call them what?
Skillets.
Skillets?
Yeah, that's a word, or booger. But yeah, if mentor is a big thing in the world, as long as you listen. A lot of newbies don't want to listen. They think they know it all,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't. It turns out they're busted.
How? I mean, do those performers not last as long? Like the folks that don't listen and won't embrace what seasoned performers have
Right.
to tell them.
Some of them do, and some don't. I mean, the ones that don't obviously don't, because they're not getting any better and they're not getting any bookings anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that listen, you can tell because they're still at it.
Is there just kind of like one centralized network of booking kind of in the area that everybody knows everybody and it just kind of flows
Yeah.
through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows everybody in the different, surrounding areas.
So you pretty much.
But right now, Cape Girardeau's the only bar that's open, to work at.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't travel. With the virus going on, I haven't traveled at all.
I mean, it's difficult. It's,
Yeah.
Trying, because everybody wants to be, that's part of where, this podcast, I've been thinking about it for years now, but there wasn't really a good time to do it because there was so much other activity. Well, now that there's not as much activity in
Yeah,
other
there's
places,
a lot of free time going on now, yeah.
And people want to talk about what they do and what their thing is and what they hope to get back to in
Right.
however soon we can.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, I haven't traveled any. I did a few shows, virtual shows. And I did one for the last one I did was for the Illinois Equality. There I had a big fundraiser.
And that was a really
They
good
chose me.
show.
They chose me to be a storybook reader.
Uh-huh.
So I read The Three Little Pigs. And then you could, I think, subscribe to watch the different acts. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it was $25 donation. So I don't know how much they raised, because you never hear about that. You know, they always want you to participate in something, but you never hear the ending. So I take it they raised really good. I mean, I don't know. But it was an honor to be asked to do that.
So the title of is it Southern Illinois Drag Queen? What is your overarching title?
Southern Illinois Pride Queen.
Southern Illinois Pride Queen.
Yeah.
Was this so have you had any other kind of like monikers or titles throughout the course, or is this just kind of like a newer thing, and as we
no.
develop the pride activities, that this is kind of, you were one of the first people to get the crown and the everything that goes with
Yeah,
it?
I was the first one for that. But no, I've won about 58 contests.
But who's counting, right?
Yeah. Well, when you get my age, you have to start counting. Yeah. But yeah, no, that was an honor to be that. But I've held titles as Miss Illinois, U.S. of A., and Miss Illinois at Large, U.S. of A., and Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee. I've held a lot of the big names that took me to travel over the United States to compete in these pageants, the Miss Gay USA contest.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the winning the Miss Southern Illinois Pride Queen was that was a real good honor. It looks like I'm going to be that for 2 years. So we had it scheduled for April, and then that got canceled.
Yeah.
So we've been asked to keep our duties going. So
I enjoyed the parade, the driving parade. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we had we've been in the Christmas parade. the holiday parade here, and I've been in the St. Louis Pride Parade, the Evansville Pride Parade, but then we had the virtual parade here. Is
Uh-huh.
that the one you're talking
Yep.
about?
Yep.
Yeah, that was kind of cute and fun. So we got a good response from people on the side of the roads and honking and carrying on, and yeah, that was kind of a fun day. Yeah.
So you said so what? So you've gotten to be in all sorts of parades. Are these more recent activities in terms of the parade activity, or what's one of the first memories you have in like of doing a parade
A
in
parade.
drag?
I've been in the SIU homecoming parade several times,
Uh huh.
and then I was in the St. Louis Pride Parade before I represented Southern Illinois Pride. I was a title holder, Missouri All-American Goddess at large, and I rode in the parade for that.
Mm-hmm.
So those those have been about the parades. I've been asked to be in the Chicago Pride Parade a couple of times, but I never did do it. But yeah, those are the parades that I've been in. And it's great to be in it because, I mean, everybody's hollering, Blanche, Blanche, and you're looking around because there's thousands of people and you can't tell who's hollering, and
Uh huh.
you hear somebody hollering, throw me some beads, or, throw me this, or, because we have a lot of giveaways.
Uh huh.
So,
So how does the giveaway aspect incorporate itself into the performance, right? That's something that I've always been curious about. When doing the drag shows with you, or
my
just
giving
like
away.
is it? Go ahead. Sorry.
That's something that I just made up, and I started doing it one time, and I got such good response, and I've heard a lot of people say, well, what are you going to give out next week? Because I've got everything you've ever gave out. And I'm like, I don't know. I'll have to figure out the song. And then when I think of the song, then that's kind of like I do my costume. I think of the song, and then I pick out what costume I want to make,
Uh-huh.
that fits appropriate for the words. And then that's what I do with the item that I give away also.
Is that something that's like just specific to this area, or is this something that people do the
No,
giveaway all over the
this
place?
is the area.
Okay.
I've never really seen it done anywhere else.
Huh.
I've noticed a lot of people have. There was somebody in Cape Girardeau started doing it one time. Kind of. I don't know if it was an honor to be chosen to do because I did it, or if it was a mimic. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But that was done down in Cape. But no, I've never really seen anybody else do it. It's just something that I've started,
Huh. That's interesting.
carried on. Yeah.
Having pretty much only been exposed to shows that either you have produced or shows that have had that have been produced by people who you have had an impact on, right? For me, like, that is an integral part of a drag show, is like
Right.
the giveaway and watching the transaction aspect of, like, this is like how you actually get people to get up out of their seats beyond the performance and
Right.
get them to trade you dollars for
Right.
just little trinkets and stuff.
And a lot of people like that fact that they're going to get something, in return, free to take home, to remember the drag show. Because a lot of people that come to the drag shows, like at different venues, we have them at straight venues and things, have never been to a drag show because they are not either old enough or they chose not to go into a gay bar or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I can take this home, put on my shelf, and everybody that comes over, that was from a drag show, so and so gave me. And I think people like it.
Well, and how's it been kind of getting kids involved in it now? Now that there are more family friendly places where families can actually go and participate in a drag show, as opposed to a bar where obviously
Right.
things are 19 or 21 or whatever and up, where it's not really a family setting.
Yeah. I mean, the kids that come, we have a particular show at the varsity. It's children friendly. And I mean, the families come, and then you have sometimes high school kids come, as a group that don't want to come with their mom and dad. But the little kids that come with their mom and dad, it's so cute to see them, because they tiptoe down, and they want to hand you their dollar, and And it was funny not this last time I had a show at the Varsity, but I think it was the time before I had gave away items, and this little girl, she looked like she was probably 5, whatever, and gave me her $1, and she was so bashful, and she wanted the item that I had, so I gave it to her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I came out in my next number. I usually do one giveaway per show. And I come out in my next number and did my song, and I just lip synced it and moved around, danced around, or whatever. I didn't have any giveaways because there wasn't any. I wasn't doing anything there. And here come that little girl with another $1, and she just stood there, and you could see the look on her face because she was wanting me to give her something, because that stuck in her mind. And I said, I don't have anything. I'm sorry, sweetie. And the crowd, roared, because they knew what was going on. But I think that's great that kids can see what the world's all about.
Yeah, well, that's good. And people getting mad in more kind of cut off places. They're like, oh, I don't want drag queen story time at my library. It's like, come on, man.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're making a decision for a child that, who knows, they may grow up to be gay.
Yeah.
And that child's missed out.
Yeah. I mean, just a willing experience to allow
Right.
somebody to better know who they are, because until you have exposure to something that is not whatever, the homogenous life that you may live, shielded by your parents from everything out there, as some people do experience, you don't,
Right.
you may not know who you are.
And it's funny, but a lot of kids look up to drag queens as somebody famous.
Yeah.
You know.
Even if you're not famous, you look famous.
Yeah. I mean, I've had that happen. Could we get a picture? My daughter just loves you, and she thinks you are so famous. I've had that. Parents ask that. In different shows, and I'm like, sure, I love to be photographed. So.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
What? So you used to have. So I only know you in the context of now and not before, right? When you may have had a little bit more. How do I say it? Right. The different physical feats that you were able to perform as a drag queen, the more vibrant dances, splits, and other things like that.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the pictures, and it's impressive.
Yeah, I was able. Yeah, I used to be able to do cartwheels and splits and jump off the rails and do all them kind of things. And then I remember one time at the old bar here, they had a swing hanging from the ceiling.
Uh-huh.
And I would get on the ledge and kind of get that swing over there and set on it, and then they would slide that swing out, so I'm kind of like sideways.
Mm-hmm.
But I would swing on the swing, and I mean, that's way at the top, and I would do my song or whatever, and I mean, those are things that I wouldn't dare attempt to do now. But I used to, back years ago, cut a rug, yeah, as they say, and do the splits and the cartwheels and all, but those days are gone. That's probably why I'm in the shape I'm in today.
little rough on the body to go,
right.
wouldn't you say?
The 8-inch stiletto heels and all that, yeah. That tends to cause arthritis. So.
Is that one of the health issues that you're dealing with more than anything? Is the arthritis?
Yeah, arthritis. Yeah, really bad. And then I have stenosis in my back, so that kind of eliminates, any movement really that hard of dance movement. Yeah. So I've had, like I said, 44 years of it. So.
Pretty good run for not being done yet.
So now I'm what's known as a ballad stand queen, more or less. So I don't not much movement. But that's why I still got to keep up with the beauty and the craziness on the stage.
Right.
So.
You always find the pivot.
Yeah.
Never stop adapting to what you can do and what the audience is interested in seeing.
Exactly. Right. Yep, that is so true. So I'm just fortunate to be here and be able to, still do my thing, my hobby. So,
So you just consider drag a hobby, or do you consider it more than that in life?
um, I would call it a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never financially depended on it, so I mean I couldn't call it a job.
Fair.
So, I would say a hobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. Now there are people that depend on it. I mean, that's their income,
Mm-hmm.
and trust me, they're not saving no bank account up, because it's just not, the money's just not there like it was.
Yeah.
So.
Did you ever do anything in particular professional work wise? Obviously, after the FBI.
Yeah, I've always worked ever
Okay.
since I was 14. I've worked in various restaurants, and I did worked in nursing field, and my last job I worked at was neurorestorative.
Oh, that's great.
I was there 20 years. It's a brain facility, rehab facility here in Carbondale, and I've worked there 20 years. And then it got to where I couldn't do any more lifting, so the doctor wouldn't release me to go back, so I had to give that up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I've always been a worker.
That's great.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, I mean, 20 years in, in working with folks that have traumatic brain injuries and stuff. I mean, that's
Right.
that's dedication.
Yeah.
That's true. Like,
Yeah.
you care about people.
Yeah,
you care
it's
for
it's
people.
a hard and rewarding job, and it could be a very stressful job, you
Yeah.
know. But I always think it's funny because they used to bring some of the guys to the drag shows when I do a show at the university.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, to this day, I don't think they had any clue who I was. So, but that'd be an outing for them.
Do they enjoy it for the most
Oh
part?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, and I've interacted with all sorts of folks, through neurorestorative in different places and ways, right? And it's just, we've got a lot of cool stuff in and around Carbondale
Yeah.
to do.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's good for them to have activities. That's so funny though that they would have that. You were so costumed up.
Right. Yeah, that they had no clue. Yeah. And then I know one time they had me a couple different times perform at the Halloween party.
Uh-huh.
And then they've had me play Santa Claus there too before. So I've been all kinds of theatrical stuff. But the Halloween party I did from Hocus Pocus.
Uh-huh.
What's her name? The Bette Midler character? Winnie.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Winnie?
Now I'm in trouble for not being
Yeah,
a
I
Hocus
honestly
Pocus
don't know.
watcher.
I think I've seen Hocus Pocus one time, but I thought that costume of Bette Midler was so amazing, and I had that made. And Winifred, I think's her name. If you're all listening to me out there, correct us, because we're not sure. But,
We'll know by the time
right, you'll
by the
get
time everything's posted.
There'll be comments back on that.
How did Blanche not know who the
Yeah.
right Hocus Pocus person was? It's like calm down now.
I
Calm
just
down.
know it was Bette Midler. So, like I said, I played that. I think I've watched that maybe one full time, and the other times, just hit and miss, watching it. But that character was very cool. So I did that for the party. They didn't have any clue who I was. So,
Super dressed up.
right.
So you were talking about having just done an interview with the Southern for, what you said Phyllis. What is Phyllis's last name? Was it Phyllis? I'm sorry, I'm messing up names now.
I'm not. Oh, you talking about the story on the person?
Yeah.
Is for Paulette.
Oh, Paulette.
Yeah,
Okay.
Paulette.
No, shame on me. Now I'm in.
Paulette used to own the bar here in town, Main Street East.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how was that interview? How was like recalling all those stories of like the first, she was like the first gay bar in Southern Illinois. Was that the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And we just talked about different events that went on there, and they just asked me questions about the bar life and how times have changed and
Yeah.
all. So
Kind of this conversation where things have been and
right,
where things
right,
are now and
right.
all that fun
But
stuff.
they had included a couple people that work for Paulette in the story, and I was one of them they chose. So
So did you used to work at the bar too?
yeah, I worked at Main Street East. That's when I was doing cartwheels and splits and swinging from the swing. Yeah,
Were you just working like as a performer, or were you
yeah,
bartending and
performer,
other stuff too?
performer.
Okay, all right. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure if there was
yeah,
more on that end or not.
yeah, yeah. Paulette, in her story, it was kind of funny. They said she had told that they had a bunch of religious protesters out in front of the bar one night when it opened, and she said, I just sent my drag queen Blanche DuBois out there to tend to them, and they all, and her comment was, what are you doing here on my corner? And they all vanished. So she sent me out there and, drag, so, yeah. And that was my comment. What are y'all doing here on my corner? And they immediately vanished off the protest line. That's in the article, so.
That's oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Just brush them off, make them think they're too close to something
yeah,
they
I
really
mean,
don't like.
Yeah.
Shame on them.
That was a religious group that didn't want any part of the gay life, let alone a drag queen.
Let alone for somebody to drive by and think, "Oh, is that the same corner that drag queen hangs out on? Oh, and now we're on it. Oh no!"
Right. Exactly.
Oh, what are do you feel comfortable talking about some of the more difficult experiences you've had with folks? I mean, whether it's in group settings or individual settings. Just, I mean, again.
Well, I really have been very lucky. I really haven't had a lot of problems as far as physically. The name calling's gone on a lot.
Yeah.
And that's everywhere. But
Yeah.
never really, honestly, say I had any bad things. I know I've been accepted very well, and I think that's just doing it for so many years that everybody knows who I am. And I mean, I frequent, a lot of straight bars, and I don't have any issues who I am and what I'm doing,
Yeah.
It's not every day you see a man come in a bar, straight bar, with 50 pounds of makeup on and big hair and 3 pair of eyelashes, but I mean, people have accepted it. PKs, I go there occasionally, and then Tres Hombres, and I mean, that's honestly, can say I really haven't had a lot of trouble.
That's great. That's phenomenal. And I having only grown up kind of in the mid 2000s to now, not really having a much of an understanding of what any sort of life would have been like, before that, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever it may have been to have to handle what was a much more acceptable difference of thought then versus now, where it's like, come on, what do you mean you can't just accept people for who they are, right?
Right.
It's a little bit of a different space that we're in now than we were, before I was even alive. Not
Yeah. I mean, people just pretty well. I mean, like I said, other than the name calling and all, there was really no violence or anything on my side.
Good.
So that was great.
How involved have you been with Rainbow Cafe?
Pretty much been involved with them for 3 or 4 years. Do a lot of benefits for them to raise money. And then when I won the contest, then that put me there with them a little more, representing their name, behind me and a lot. And so pretty well, anytime there's a benefit, I'm there, donating my time. And then when they have a bingo, I'm the bingo caller.
Yeah.
Sister Blanche. I'll either be the sister Blanche calling the bingo or be the old lady bingo lady. So we have charity benefits for that. And so, yeah, pretty well Anytime there's a benefit, I'm there willing to help raise money because I think that's a great organization.
Yeah.
I've said that all along. That it's a shame that that organization, something like that, wasn't around years ago when I came out because you just went out on your own and you had nowhere to go, nowhere to turn or ask for advice or help or, you just, to meet gay people, you had to go to the bar,
Yeah.
you know.
Is that part of why the bar is such a center point for your life, kind of just in context of like that's where you would socialize and how
Right.
where you could develop community at?
Right, yeah,
Okay.
that's where I met a lot of friends and sisters of, drag queens and things like that through the bar. There's nowhere else. Back then, there was no social media.
Yeah.
There was no internet. So that's about the option you went. So that's why I think that's great for the kids to get involved in.
Yeah.
So
Just developing a social
at an
scene.
at an early age. Understanding. So
Well, I imagine it would be tough for the folks that, years ago may not have been as interested in going to a bar to meet folks versus, what their interest in a difference of social scene would be. So I guess being
yeah.
being more in tune with the nightlife was kind of helpful.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I love it. I love it. Is there anything else that you kind of want to talk about, Blanche? I wasn't sure kind of where our conversation would go. I usually just kind of tee it up and see where we land, but I wanted people to just, hear your story. And now we've got one more little piece of cataloged history of Southern Illinois, the
Right.
history that is Blanche.
No, there's really nothing else. I just wish, like I said, we get this virus to be solved so we get back to our everyday, enjoyment of life. Like I said, I haven't did any shows. I did the virtual, and then I actually did do a drag show last Friday at Von Yaka Winery.
Really?
It was a private birthday party.
Uh-huh.
For 20 people. But other than that, as far as a big venue or anything, I haven't got out, and I'm ready to get out.
Yeah.
So no, I really don't have anything else we haven't gone over. Just everybody stay safe and find a cure.
That's it. Awesome. Well, I appreciate the time, Blanche. I really do. I really do. And that is episode number 6. Interesting people with their interesting stories, all tied together here in Carbondale. Blanche DuBois, the mother queen of the drag scene in Southern Illinois. I don't even know which phrase or which label to give it, but
Well, yeah, Mother. Everybody calls me Mother.
that's it. So we appreciate you folks. Have a good one. Bye.